And if somebody says the Russia or the Mueller report or the Russia hoax was fake or whatever, like Kyle Kulinski says that the Russia thing was fake, they're full of shit. I don't think Kyle Kulinski is a bad actor. I don't think that he's covering for anybody. I don't call people out directly like this almost ever. But Kyle Kulinski, come on, man.
You want to know what Hillary's doing?
Not really. I don't care what Hillary is doing. She's not really involved in politics anymore. She's not going to run for president ever again, almost certainly. I couldn't possibly care less what Hillary is up to right now. But okay. I assume you're going to tell me, right?
Look at this. Look at what Hillary's doing. You may
If I must.
I wonder, you're sitting at home going, what is Hillary doing?
No, never actually occurred to me. That has never happened. I've never sat at home and said, I wonder what Hillary is doing right now. You know why? Because I don't fucking worship her like a cult leader. Like you guys worship Donald Trump like a cult leader. I don't give a shit what Hillary is up to right now. I couldn't possibly care less. But I guess you're going to tell me because you keep track of this shit, right?
Look at what Hillary's doing. You may wonder, you're sitting at home going, what is Hillary doing? I'm glad you asked me that. Look at this. Inside with Jen Psaki. There's a show you want to watch.
Jen Psaki, for the record, was the press secretary for Joe Biden for a while. No longer. She gave up the job, and now it's Karine Jean-Pierre, I think. Okay, so Jen Psaki started her own show after being the press secretary and is now having on Hillary Clinton, I guess?
Look at this. Inside with Jen Psaki. There's a show you want to watch. I fear that the Russians have proved themselves to be quite adept at interfering, and if he has a chance, he'll do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's very, very true. If you don't think that's true, then you're a fool. Of course, Vladimir Putin has done everything that he could to get a favorable president into the presidency in the United States. He would have been a fool not to. And we know that he's a dictator. He's a piece of garbage. His opponents shouldn't stand near windows or drink tea. Just stay on the first floor is all I'm saying if you're an opponent of Vladimir Putin. Anyway, the point here is, of course, Putin is going to interfere in the election. Yes, that's going to happen. He interfered in the election last time, too. Donald Trump repeated the words Russia, Russia, Russia. It's a propaganda technique to make it seem as though any mention of Russia and election interference at all is just a lie. It's not true at all. But it is, actually. Vladimir Putin did, in fact, create bot farms and stuff like that and have them get on Twitter and argue in favor of Trump and stuff like that. Matter of fact, do you know who ran those bot farms in 2016? Before he ran the Wagner Group, it was Prigozhin. The guy who ran Wagner Group, before he ran it, ran the bot farms that interfered in the 2016 election. Really. 2014, 2015, he ran those bot farms. Gigantic buildings full of people who were just sitting there copying and pasting on Facebook and on Twitter and pasting stuff all over social media that was oppositional to Bernie or Biden or Hillary or whatever, and positive about Donald Trump. Kind of creating, what would you call it? Like creating a, something of a cult following behind Donald Trump, because Vladimir Putin knew that Donald Trump was going to be positive toward him. He's going to be helpful toward him. Of course, Vladimir Putin was interfering in the election at the time by creating those bot farms. We know that without a shadow of a doubt. The Mueller report did not exonerate Donald Trump. He was involved in it. If you haven't read the Mueller report, you should. But Trump created the what do you call it? The propaganda phrase, Russia, 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 to convince everybody around him that he was 100% completely and totally innocent of any wrongdoing, even though he wasn't. So anyways, yeah, Russia, of course, is going to interfere in the election again.
Is this not crazy? Watch.
Vladimir Putin has obviously your friend and mine.
Yes, indeed.
He has intervened in our election in the past.
Right.
It's
Yep.
not something, as you experienced firsthand, it's not something we talk about a lot.
Actually, you know what Vladimir Putin did in 2016? He was just trying to cause chaos. So he promoted Bernie Bros. That's where Bernie Bros came from. Vladimir Putin fabricated the group Bernie Bros, effectively. He actually created pro-Bernie Sanders memes and pro-Hillary Clinton memes and stuff. He just wanted chaos. That's what it was all about. And if you're really curious, you could just look up some of the memes that Vladimir Putin had created that were favorable to Bernie Sanders or favorable to Trump or whatever. Russian memes 2016. I mean, these were all listed in some report. I forget. Okay, here are some of the memes that were spread according to Time.com. Trump is not my president. November 12th, 12 p.m. Union Square, New York City. They're trying to create like a protest. People are genuinely scared for their futures. Racism won, ignorance won, sexual assault won. Stop Trump, stop racism. Join the protest at Union Square. He was just trying to cause chaos. Of course, at this time, Trump was not that popular. So he was trying to draw attention to Donald Trump. Good attention, bad attention, didn't matter. He wanted attention on Donald Trump, and he wanted chaos between Democratic Party candidates. That's what it was really all about. Don't mess with Texas Border Patrol, always guided by God. Border Patrol agents in South Texas arrested an illegal alien from Honduras that had previously been deported and convicted of second degree. Okay, that's not how that is said, but maybe it's said that way in Russia. Again, this is created by Russia. Thanks to Obama's and Hillary's policy, illegals come here because they wait for amnesty promised. The wrong course have been chosen by the American government, but all those politicians are too far from the border to see who actually sneaks through it illegally. Drug dealers, human traffickers, and others. The percent of innocent poor families searching for a better life is too small to become an argument for amnesty and Texas warm welcome. Here's a pro-Bernie meme. You can color your own Bernie hero. Here's a new coloring book Here's a new coloring book calling Buff Bernie, a coloring book for Berniacs, is full of very attractive doodles of Bernie Sanders in muscle poses. The author of the book said that she wanted people to stop taking this whole thing too serious. The coloring is something that suits for all people. LGBT United was a Russian front Facebook page. Heart of Texas, I believe, was a Russian front Facebook page. And if you notice, it's sponsored. They bought ads on Facebook. Sponsored. I mean, those are just a few examples of memes that Russia used and fronts that they used to create chaos, basically. Again, BM, I don't know what BM was. BM was some kind of a Facebook page that took out ads in New York City and created a protest where one was not there originally. They just wanted to create chaos and bring attention to Donald Trump because they thought Trump would be most valuable to them. And it worked. Absolutely worked. So, yeah, Russia interfered in the election in 2016 and in 2020 through creating click farms and fake Facebook pages and all this other stuff. This is all well understood and well known and beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if somebody says the Russia or the Mueller report or the Russia hoax was fake or whatever, like Kyle Kolinski says that the Russia thing was fake, they're full of shit. I don't think Kyle Kolinski is a bad actor. I don't think that he's covering for anybody. I just think he's a fucking fool I'm sorry. I don't call people out directly like this almost ever. But Kyle Kolinski, come on, man. Russia interfered in the election, okay? It's obvious. If you don't believe it, then you're not looking. This is why I don't watch secular talk anymore, because he's absolutely refusing to see the evidence in front of his eyes. Russia interfered in the election. If Kyle's listening to this right now, I like Marianne Williamson. I agree with you on Marianne Williamson's policies. I want Medicare for all. I want all the same shit you want. You're wrong about Russia interfering with the election. I'm just saying. Kyle is acting like a fool. I'm sorry. He just is. I don't do call-outs like this. I go out of my way not to call people out. But I had to. I have to call Kyle Kolinski out on this one. I must. I wouldn't feel right about it if I didn't. I'm really upset with Kyle Kolinski because he went down that stupid fucking road. And then he quadrupled down, and he still, to this day, refuses to accept that Russia interfered in the 2016 and 2020 elections. Here's another Russian meme right here. U.S. tanks, they/them. Russian tanks, no they, them. This is just another Russian meme. You know why I think that Kyle Kolinski refuses to, accept that Russia interfered in the elections? I think it's because he likes Noam Chomsky, which Chomsky's great in some ways. But Noam Chomsky, anytime Russia is brought up, says, well, if you really want to talk about election interference, he goes down this whataboutism path and says, well, look at what Israel's doing. What about Israel? Yes, it's all bad. I agree. It's all bad. But we're talking about Russia right now, not about the other people that interfere. Let's deal with what we're talking about right now. Noam Chomsky, PhD, language expert, knows what whataboutism is. And Kyle Kolinski does too. They should both know better than to go down this whataboutism path and completely dismiss Russian interference in the election. It's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, Kyle. I used to watch your stuff. In fact, I still watch your stuff from time to time. I agree with you on everything. Except for that. You got to change your position on that, Kyle. The point here is that Russia most definitely interfered in the election. There is absolutely no question about it. There's a whole report all about it. This is absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt true. And if they hadn't interfered the way that they did, it is, I would venture as far as to say, likely that Hillary Clinton would have been the president instead of Donald Trump. You know why? Because it's possible Trump may not have even been the nominee. And if Hillary Clinton was running against somebody else other than Donald Trump, maybe she would have won. And if all the character assassination against her hadn't taken place, maybe she would have won. I just think it's foolish for Kyle Kolinski of Secular Talk. Yeah, this is another call out. I think it's foolish for Kyle Kolinski of Secular Talk to completely discount and dismiss this stuff when it is 100% real.
Vladimir Putin has obviously your friend and mine.
Yes, indeed.
He has intervened in our election in the past.
Right.
It's not something, as you experienced firsthand, it's not something we talk about a lot. Do you fear that that is something that could be happening for 2024? And
Oh, of course, yes. Putin is going to interfere in every election moving forward. Yes, absolutely. Until we do something to acknowledge it and put a stop to it. Now, to be fair, the FBI has been working on putting a stop to the election interference taking place. They've been doing their best to shut down these click farms and all this other stuff. They've been working on it. Probably not enough, but what can you do?
Do you think we should be talking about it more?
Well, I think we should be talking about it more because I don't think, despite all of the deniers, there's any doubt that he interfered in our election or that...
There is no doubt. No. There is no doubt that Putin interfered in the election, both 2020 and 2016.
That he has interfered in many ways in the internal affairs of other countries, funding political parties, funding, political candidates.
Oh, yeah. The United States has too, and it was wrong for them also. But we're not here to talk about the United States and what they do. We're here to talk about what Vladimir Putin is doing and has done. I'm just dispelling that argument right now. I know somebody is watching right now saying, what about blah? What about the U.S. doing this or that or whatever? We're not talking about the U.S. right now. We're talking about what Vladimir Putin does. And Hillary Clinton's absolutely 100% correct on this point.
other countries, funding political parties, funding, political candidates, buying off, government officials in different places. So,
yeah, absolutely. That happens. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're watching Flashpoint right now. These are Trump extremist nutcases that we're watching. They were just playing a clip that Hillary Clinton said, and they're about to criticize it. Oh, my God. I cannot even imagine what they're going to say about it. It's going to be something psychotic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Russia's fault.
Okay, I guess they're just going to deny that it happens? Is that what's happening right now? Are you denying that this happens at all? I mean, Russia does this stuff without a shadow of a doubt.
It's Russia, Rick. I've been telling you, Hillary's been saying it. It's still Russia's fault.
Well, I mean, nobody's blaming every problem that exists in the United States on Russia. That's not happening. We're just saying there are issues that Russia has created intentionally. Robert Adset brings up a good point. Russia funded the NRA to fund election campaigns and campaign ads. Absolutely, that's a fantastic point. The spy that existed was in the NRA. The Russian spy that existed was uncovered, and when she was discovered, fled to Russia, and now she's like a news anchor or whatever on RT, Russia's propaganda channel. I'm dead serious. She was a very high up NRA operative, and when her connections to Russia were uncovered, she left and is now an RT, anchor or whatever. How do you reconcile that? The NRA was acting as an arm of Russia, seriously. And here's another call out. I'm sorry. Kyle Kolinski refuses to see what's right in front of his face. Really, Kyle, pull it together, bro. Russia interfered in the election, okay? Yes, Israel interferes in our elections. And yes, we interfere in other people's elections. Yes to all of that shit. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about Russia and their election interference in America. Okay? You know better than to use whataboutism. You know better.
It goes back to exactly what Lance was saying. They truly believe they can say anything, get away with anything, facts, evidence, none of that matters. Now, you do notice the language changed, right? From
Wait, who is they? Is it like the deep state, or who are we talking about?
Russian collusion, because it was undoubtedly proven that there was no collusion.
No, it was not undoubtedly proven. It was undoubtedly proven that there was collusion, actually, in the Mueller report. Donald Trump did, in fact, collude with Russia to do this stuff. Paul Manafort and a bunch of people went to jail for it, okay? There was collusion, as a matter of fact. Robert Mueller just believed that you shouldn't indict a sitting president. So he recommended against indictment because he thought that you shouldn't do that to a sitting president. You should impeach rather than indict. That was his position. That's why he said no indictments. There was collusion. He colluded with Russia. Donald Trump did. Seriously. I don't know how anybody could buy the lie that Donald Trump did not collude with Russia at this point.
But now it's just that they interfered. So if they got on some social media outlets and they put some bots on there, of course they would try things like that. That's what foreign entities do. But that somehow that changed the outcome for Hillary or whatever. All a bunch of lies. Listen.
No, it's all true. That's exactly what happened. Donald Trump colluded with Russia, and they did put a whole bot network on there. All of that is absolutely 100% true. There was interference and there was collusion. That is completely true and was proven through the investigations that took place. By the way, here's another way in which I don't know if you would call this collusion or I don't know what you'd call it, but here's another thing that happened. Just think about this one. This is completely undeniable. It's a matter of public record. Just go look if you're curious, okay? Michael Flynn was Obama's, national security advisor? I'm not even sure exactly what role he played in Obama's cabinet or in his whatever. I don't know. Anyway, he was somehow involved in the Obama administration. In 2014, Russia invaded Ukraine. They invaded Crimea, a section that belonged to Ukraine, a strip of land that they got their or some utility from Crimea. I forget which utility it was that Ukraine got from Crimea. And Russia invaded Crimea and took ownership of Crimea. And you know what Michael Flynn did? Communicated with Sergei Kislyak, which was the Russian ambassador, and said to him, if Trump wins, I've talked to him. He said he's going to back off and drop the sanctions that Obama just placed on you for invading Crimea. So don't do anything. Just wait. See what happens. And just let it play out. And sure enough, Putin didn't say a word when sanctioned by Obama. And the Obama administration was like, that's unusual. Why? This guy cries about everything. Why is he not crying about this? About these sanctions that we just placed on him? Come to find out, it was because Michael Flynn made that plan with him. He said, don't worry about it. We've got your back. So Michael Flynn basically went behind Obama's back to communicate with Russian operatives to tell them, don't worry about it. When Trump wins, if Trump wins, we will remove the sanctions for you. And sure enough, Trump won, and guess what he did? He removed the sanctions. Anybody surprised? Vladimir Putin made an investment. He invested in bot farms and stuff like that. And that investment paid off when Trump won. There was absolutely Russian interference in the election, and it paid off. It was successful. His campaign worked to his benefit. Michael Flynn was charged and convicted and sentenced for that, and then pardoned by Donald Trump. Now that shit right there should be illegal. That is collusion in my mind. Right there. That. Pardoning Michael Flynn was collusion, as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, there is a paper trail the size of Texas on the collusion that Donald Trump took part in with Russia. And there's a paper trail the size of Texas regarding the interference that Russia took part in too. Sorry, man, if you don't see it at this point, you're blind. Look around you, okay? Just look at any of these reports.
I just got to go back to the congressman a few minutes ago. I was listening to him describe the reasons that come.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. One more thing I wanted to mention. Nemo 2 brought this up just now. Do you know why there's an operation called Operation Crossfire? Crossfire Hurricane. That's what it was called. Crossfire Hurricane. Do you know why the FBI was even investigating Trump in Operation Crossfire Hurricane? That's what it was called. That was the investigation into Donald Trump and his ties to Russia and the collusion that they might have going on or whatever. Do you know why the FBI was investigating Trump in the first place? Because the FBI, or maybe the CIA, NSA, I don't know, somebody, whoever it was, probably the CIA, were monitoring known spies, known Russian spies in the United States. They were monitoring their phone calls. They had them bugged. And people from the Donald Trump campaign and Donald Trump's allies and Donald Trump family members kept calling these known Russian spies. And the FBI, I think it was the FBI, they're like, what the is going on right now? Why is Donald Trump's presidential campaign like contacting so many Russian spies. This is bizarre. Of course, that led to the investigation, which led to the Mueller investigation, which led us to find out that Donald Trump was colluding with Russia to get himself an edge in the election.
A few minutes ago, I was listening to him describe the reasons that Kamala's polling so bad.
It's Kamala.
And he listed a bunch of reasons, but he forgot the most important one. And I'm not going to be, I'm sorry, I just can't be as diplomatic as Lance. It's because she's a moron. She doesn't have, I don't know how many brain cells she's got, but it's not many. Everybody knows it when she starts talking.
Everybody knows that Kamala is stupid? Kamala's not stupid. What are you talking about?
Think about how bad she did the first time around when she ran for president.
Yeah, she was less than 2%, and that's why she had to drop out. Anyway.
Yeah, but no, she didn't drop out, I don't believe. She was pretty low, though, but she was involved in the debates, and nominees usually shore up their weak points with, you know, their vice president picks. Like Donald Trump, his weak spot was religion. He was not very popular with religious people, or he worried that he wasn't popular with religious people. So what did he do? He went and found an ultra-religious nutcase as his vice president. That's what you do. Hillary Clinton picked Tim Kaine. That was a stupid decision. But Tim Kaine was very popular in Virginia, and she thought she would get all of the classic standard states that Democrats usually get, and Virginia was probably going to be the thing that, like, the election hinged on. That's what she believed. So if she could win Virginia, then she believed that she would be able to win the election. So she picked someone super popular in Virginia, Tim Kaine. That was her thought process. Unfortunately, Virginia was not the thing that the election hinged upon, and she should have picked somebody that was more universally popular, like Bernie Sanders, in my opinion, as her running mate, if she wanted to win the election. That's just my take on it, but anyway.